And I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, let me see. I'll reveal this a little bit later to you. Let me just start with um, my day. So I've been working on a project for a couple of days now. I was up late last night working on it. It's not, I would say it's not going well. I've done a lot of projects. I've done a lot of different things. Interesting. And this project is, for lack of a better word, I guess it's a strong word to say I'm disappointed in how it's turning out. So I've been thinking about that, working on it. And the thought comes to my mind where I say to myself, well, hey, good. This is how we learn and grow, right? This is when you're not satisfied with whatever it is you're working on, doing, changing, modifying, growing. You're growing, right? You're growing. Hopefully, unless you give up. And even then, sometimes it's okay to give up. But, so, I've redoubled my efforts a couple of times. Said, I got to try a different way. I got to do this differently. I got to try a different tact. And try to see if I can come up with an insight to make this project special. Take it to another level, I guess you could say. Right? That's a modern term. Take it to another level. And I got to a point this afternoon where I was like, you know what? Let me grab a paper and a pencil and just start drawing out some sketches on how I could do it different, do it better, and how I could make it special, And so I started thinking, geesh, I'm going to need some inspiration here. I'm not seeing it myself. It's not coming, it feels like it's not within me. I'm going to need an outside source to give me a spark here, take me to the next level on this project. And that brings me to the actual theme of what I'm going to talk about just a little bit. This will be a short episode about just a little thing that happened to me while I was traveling. I've done a fair amount of travel, seen a lot of things. Got a fascination with architecture, with particularly Gothic architecture and old castles. Seen a lot of them. Traveled all of America. I've done a fair amount of travel in the world, and I've been impressed by the beauty of older things. I think we've kind of lost touch with real beauty nowadays. It used to be an important thing to be form and function when you're building. Let's talk about just buildings. Buildings, form and function used to be a different thing. It had to fulfill its structure had to fulfill its function, but it also had to be beautiful. And we've kind of lost track of that. We focus more on function and less on the beauty. And during a long period of time, Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Baroque era, the beauty was a testament to God. So it was important. When we've lost that, we seem to have lost, God. And we've lost that testament in reverence to making something beautiful in praise of God, right? I can give you a personal example, and I still haven't gotten to the real point. I'm going to end this podcast with the real point of my talk here, so you can have something to think about. But for me, it was interesting. When I was a kid, my family used to go to this little tiny granite church. It was small. Probably only sat 100 people, 150 people, the most. But it was beautiful. no parking lot, because when it was built, there were no cars. Here in New England, so it was pretty old, stained glass windows and columns, I think marble, I don't remember. Columns, pews, and there was something beautiful, and the place had a presence. And it burned in a fire, was destroyed when I was a kid. And then over the course of the next several years, the church purchased land elsewhere in the city and built a new church. A bigger one, much bigger, probably 4 times bigger. But the new church, to me, and no disrespect intended, was just, it was missing something. There was too much function and not enough form. Yeah, it was a church, high ceiling, pointed ceiling, but I guess nowadays the time, the effort, the architecture, the inspiration, the work, the materials, and all of that are a limitation on what you can build, right? So these are all important factors, but 500 years ago, they found a way. 300 years ago, they found a way, and they planned. Sometimes these things took 50 years, 100 years to finish. And that's all because all was a testament to something larger, God, our religious belief and our reverence to something more beyond the material world that we live in. A true belief by peoples to come together and to get something like this done. And nowadays, we seem to have lost that. It's not just individual, it's also group think or collectively thought. We've lost that collective thinking. So, this is where I'm coming kind of towards the end of my little thought here, my little talk. Like I said, I've traveled, so I'm not coming to this this statement I'm going to make. I'm not coming to this out of naivete. I'm coming to this out of, with a reasonable amount of experience, having seen and done things and traveled a lot through the world. And there has been, for me, this one instance in my life. How do I put this to make a maximum? To transmit to you how actually, in the most effective way, what really, really happened. I was in Paris. I got off a bus, and as the bus pulled away, I turned and looked across the Seine River and saw Notre Dame Cathedral perched on the side of the river. And I was aghast. It caught me so by surprise, and the thought in my head immediately came to me that this is a perfect example of divine inspiration. I mean that truly. That building was divinely inspired. It's the only explanation I could have for how it's special. I think I hadn't thought about Notre Dame in a long time, and then the fire happened and made me think again how my experience with the cathedral, Notre Dame, Our Lady, made me think about that again. And I just recently looked up some stuff about it, and they're rebuilding it. And it does have an interesting history, for, I think around 400 is when it kind of started. And then it was around 1100 where they actually started building the Notre Dame Cathedral, and it's changed a lot over the centuries. It's been added to. This isn't the first time it's been burned by fire. It's been pillaged. It does have a long history, I guess. Any magnificent structure like that that's been around for 1,000 years is going to have a history. So, and Notre Dame, Our Lady, does have a history. So they're rebuilding it, and I'm glad for that. I think, I think we should return to more of that. Planning things out rather than for quarterly profits. Planning things out for real meaning. What is really meaningful in life. We're living this mystery, and we seem to keep overlooking that. And we often think about people from the past as being barbarians. It's kind of a common trope. They were dumb. They didn't have science. We have all this technology. We're so much smarter than they were. But are we really? I don't know. It seems like we're on the wrong track. So, maybe we're dumber. Isn't it admirable to think that a group of people would say, we're going to start a project and our grandchildren will finish it. We'll never see it be completed. Our children will work on it. Our grandchildren hopefully will finish it. And not only will it be functional, but it'll be beautiful. This is how much we believe. We live in a world where we don't seem to believe in anything. Their beliefs change by the tweet. Divine inspiration. I wasn't thinking at all. I was on vacation. And when I saw that beautiful building, I don't even want to use that word. When I saw that beautiful creation along the side of the river, I was so taken by it that I just knew the hand of God was in play here. There was divine inspiration in this building, in the building of this. So, think about divine inspiration, and that's I guess, relatively speaking, you could say that's a big example of divine inspiration, but we as human beings are divine inspiration too. The beauty within us that we tend to forget because we're so busy and we're so materialistic, worrying about all these things, and our 401k and our stock investments and what's happening with the news and whatever gossip and all this other stuff. So it's like we're being led astray purposefully. So that's that. That's what I wanted to say today. If you would like, look up Notre Dame, Our Lady in Paris, and just look over some of the pictures and let me know what you think. Maybe read a little bit about the history of it. Did you know that Napoleon Bonaparte, I think he had himself crowned king or emperor or something in Notre Dame? Look it up. Enjoy the architecture of it and the look of it. I would say you won't get the same feeling I got because you're just looking at pictures on your computer or your phone. You have to be present there to feel it. Thank you very much. I'll talk with you again soon.